Hello, Colin, third in the world here. So today we're going to break down my first team that I built for BDSP, a team I've featured very much so on my channel, but a team I'm kind of retiring, and a team that I think is a great way to start playing the format and great way to start just understanding how everything comes together in the meta and what you can expect to play against. So I think this is a great beginner's team to start out playing. So let's get into how I built this team. So basically, I started out looking at the format and I saw that Scizor was a really, really strong and potent pick. And back in 2012, when I was a youngin', I had used Scizor Rain before, and it was a team that I really, really enjoyed using. I placed 9th at a regional with something similar to this, and I wanted to recreate that and try to bring a new ideas and new look to Scizor Rain in 2021. So I started with Scizor, Politoed, and Ludicolo. Politoed is my rain setter of choice here because I wanted a very defensive option. I didn't really like Pelipper. I don't think Tailwind really benefits Scizor as much as Politoed can benefit from the bulk. And I also wanted many ways to deal with Garchomp because early on I thought Garchomp was going to be the biggest problem in the world. So I was like, I'm going to destroy Garchomp, which my team does. People still bring Garchomp against me, but this team does destroy Garchomp, and that was my goal. So I decided to go with Politoed instead of Pelipper. I wanted that bulk. I wanted that Perish Song because I think Perish Song is really cool. And like honestly, most of my team building process here is what I thought was cool. So I went with Politoed, Ludicolo, and Scizor. And then after that, I decided to add Latios because I heard Choice Specs Latios was picking up a lot of traction, and I didn't have a Dragon type because I opted for Ludicolo. So I said, hey, Latios could be really cool. So I had Dragon and Steel. So I decided to add a Fairy type in Togekiss, who was supposed to be very, very strong at the time too, judging by usage stats and what I noticed. So I decided to add Togekiss to my team because I thought Togekiss would be a great addition as well. So then I had Dragon, Fairy, Steel, which is a very good defensive core. And then I noticed I had Fire, Water, Grass. So, or I had Water and Grass, so I was just lacking a Fire type, so I added Arcanine. Originally it was Infernape, so I did test out Infernape, but ultimately I decided on Arcanine because I really wanted to Intimidate, and Infernape was good, but it wasn't really giving me the defensive backbone that I really wanted on my team. When I had Infernape, it was really just fast, but when I added Arcanine, it slowed down a lot, and it actually allowed me to play much more comfortably into my style. So those were the 6, now let's break down each individually. So the first Pokemon was Politoed, as I mentioned earlier, and I went with a pretty basic set here. I went for Scald, Ice Beam, Perish Song, and Protect, and I want to make it known in this team video that I'm going to suggest some changes if you really want to use this team. But personally, I would go for Encore over Ice Beam. I think Ice Beam is a little redundant. I was really afraid of Garchomp and the other dragons, and I thought, hey, I really want Ice Beam. But I think Encore is far superior. I think it matches up great versus stuff like Scizor, trapping them into Swords Dances potentially. And I think that Encore just adds a lot more, especially with Perish Song as well. So I think you just don't need Ice Beam. The amount of times I collected was very little. The spread is pretty simple, though. It does KO Garchomp with Ice Beam, which you wouldn't really need, and I think you could invest a lot of that into special defense. I would look into some Scald calcs, but that's up to you. You can make a different Politoed spread, but at the moment it uses an Ice Beam calc. But I think for the most part, Politoed does a lot of damage with Scald, and that's really all you need. Politoed is a great Pokemon. It's very good at setting up Perish Song endgames, and Perish Song is a really great move. I think Cresselia can get really obnoxious. Politoed checks that. Sometimes you just get a really early lead because it's a very aggressive team. Boom, Perish Song. So I think this team is really good at abusing Politoed. I really enjoyed it. But I think for the most part, I wouldn't change much about it. Also, the special defense lives Latios, Draco Meteor, and then I put the rest in defense. So it's a very simple spread. Let's go to the next one, Ludicolo. So for the most part, Ludicolo is very simple. I ran a Life Orb set, which I think personally I would change to Wave Incense. I was clicking Scald most of the time, and I think the extra damage for Giga Drain and Ice Beams isn't super worth it. But I do think Wave Incense is a pretty good choice. I'd probably change that because I'd want Ludicolo to be a little bit more durable. I went for Life Orb though at the time because there's no Assault Vest, and Assault Vest is a very good Ludicolo item, but sadly it is gone. So I had to get creative here. Ability Swift Swim because you want to, go fast in the rain. The EV spread is pretty simple. It's designed to be as fast as possible with sacrificing a little bit of speed for bulk. Basically, outspeeds almost everything you need to in the metagame. And yeah, that's all it really needs to do. It doesn't really need to be max speed just because, for the most part, rain's going to be on. But I do think Ludicolo could go for more speed. I think maybe it would be nice just in case rain isn't up. But for the most part, Ludicolo performed great. I think Gastron is a very popular and strong Pokemon, and Ludicolo patches up very, very well against it. I think that Ludicolo is a great Pokemon, and I think that it's a really fun rain abuser. I loved using Ludicolo in the past, and it's really fun to use Ludicolo again. So I think for the most part, this Ludicolo set's fine, and I think it's definitely like one of the stars of the team. And Fake Out is also amazing, especially for setting up Parasong in games, for setting up just Scizor or Latios. It just creates a lot of pressure. I really like leading Ludicolo out of rain and then potentially just going like for Fake Out plus Draco Meteor and then switching in rain and then boom, 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 we're going fast. Rain's up, they're all dying. So I think Ludicolo is a very, very essential part of the team, and I think it's a really, really good mod, and I think it really just makes the team what it is. Let's go on to Scizor. So Scizor is probably the best Pokemon in the game. At first I thought it was Togekiss and Cresselia, but I think it's quickly becoming known that Scizor is a god, and Scizor is the best Pokemon. So this team definitely abuses using Scizor as well. The moveset is pretty simple: Bullet Punch, X Scissor, Swords Dance, Protect. You have your 2 stabs, and then you have Swords Dance to set up yourself, get yourself +2 attack, and just start sweeping. I think Scizor being one of the best Pokemon, it's really important to note that Rain synergizes amazingly with Scizor. It takes away one of your weaknesses in fire. Well, it helps deal with it. My spread actually is designed to live a Heatran Heatwave in the rain. So it's really imperative to have Rain and to make Scizor shine even more than it normally does. A lot of the answers to Scizor include Arcanine, Heatran, fire types for the most part, stuff like Zapdos, and Rain is doing pretty positive, especially against the fire types. So I think Scizor is just a great addition to Rain, and I think it does do a lot for Rain. And I think that Scizor is exceptional when it comes to showcasing how good Rain can be and how good Scizor can be. I think they just work in tandem, and we're probably going to see a lot of Rain Scizor the whole format because of how good it is. So the spread is really simple. I do think on Rain, I opted for a Swords Dance set, but I do think on Rain you can easily run a potential banded Scizor set. I think banded Scizor is pretty good, and I think Rain is a great place to do it. U-turns, bullet punches, all of that just synergizes incredibly well with Rain, so I do think that you could do that. I'm also a huge fan of U-turn on Scizor in general, so I do think maybe you could run U-turn over bullet punch, over X Scizor. But on this team, I do like X Scizor, and I do like the ability that Scizor just can set up and sweep. It's just a fantastic Pokemon, and if you've been itching to use Scizor, this is a great place to start. So next up we have Latios. I think Latios is an exceptional Pokemon this time around, and it's a Pokemon I've missed dearly. So basically the way that this Latios set works is it's very simple. You press Draco Meteor and you do as much damage as possible. Latios is incredible, and I think the way it synergizes with Ludicolo specifically, just Fake Out, set up Draco, is amazing. It's a pretty decent switch into a lot of the common weaknesses that Rain has, such as Electric and Grass, so having a Dragon type is really, really useful. Also, Dragon Steel Fairy is a very famous core, and it does do wonders on this team, and I think Latios is actually bulky enough to be a pivot a lot of the time. But the moveset is really simple. 4 damaging moves, we have a choice specs. We want to do as much damage as possible. Back in 2012, there was this thing called Dragon Gem Draco Meteor, and basically what it was is that you would be able to drop a Draco, and it would do tons of damage with the Dragon Gem. And nowadays we don't have that. Gems aren't in this game, but the choice specs is, and it accomplishes the same exact damage that Dragon Gem did. You're just locked into a move. I think choice spec Latios is a little bit I'm not sure how I feel about it fully, but I did really enjoy it on this team, and it was a great way to just have some fun just spamming Dracos. I really like it here, and I think you should definitely give it a try. So Togekiss, as many of you have probably experienced in Sword and Shield, is a monster, but that has transitioned into BDSP. Now Togekiss back in the day wasn't very good, but it probably had some merit because this Dazzling Gleam Super Luck stuff is really incredible, and it's transferred over to BDSP, making Togekiss a fearsome monster to deal with. Follow Me is obviously an exceptional move as well because it allows this more offensive Pokemon to perform a supportive role just because Togekiss is naturally so bulky. So Togekiss is a pretty simple, think like Dynamax without the max. That's what Togekiss is here. Air Slash and Dazzling Gleam are coverage, really good coverage. Dazzling Gleam is great. There's a lot of Pokemon weak to Fairy or not resistant to Fairy. Follow Me for that support and protect just because we want to keep Togekiss safe. One change I'd consider making is maybe Flamethrower, because I do think Scizor can give this team a lot of problems, especially when you don't bring Arcanine, and so I think Flamethrower might be like useful. I think Bulky Kiss could be really good as well. I'm not really sure how I would actually want to combat changing this slot, but for the most part, Togekiss did an exceptional job. The spread is pretty simple. I wanted to outspeed Smeargle, and then I wanted to take a Latios Ice Beam from Specs. That was what my goals were. I thought, hey, if I can do that, it's going to be pretty useful. I was able to outspeed Smeargle and Breloom, and so I could move first and Gleam them or Air Slash them, whatever I needed to do. It was really important to me that I had 3 Pokemon that outsped Smeargle and Breloom because they can get really obnoxious. So Togekiss, Latios, and Arcanine all do that, and they all can potentially double up on the Breloom or the Smeargle, whoever has the Sash, and you're able to get the KO. So I think Togekiss is really good and really important to the team. Also, it completes the Fairy, Dragon Fairy Steel Core. And it also helps Scizor set up. It helps Politoed set up Encores. It protects Latios. Togekiss is a great lead. So Togekiss just does a lot for the team and just kind of glues everything together. Togekiss was originally added last, but I thought I'd talk about Arcanine next, who was actually added later, post-completion of the team, before I got this team in the game. So now let's take a look at Arcanine. So as many of you know, Arcanine is an exceptional Pokemon, and that has not changed in BDSP. With the lack of Incineroar, the lack of Landorus, Intimidate is still a great ability, but you gotta find a new way for it, and that is Arcanine. Arcanine accomplishes the goal of Intimidate switch-in Pokemon, such as Incineroar, while also providing a very supportive role for this team. I ran a set of Flare, but Snarl, Helping Hand, Protect. Now, one thing you might be wondering is, like, Colin, you're using a Rain team. Why Arcanine? It's a fire type. They're anti-synergistic. But the thing about Rain teams is they always end up being kind of weak to opposing steel types, and fire types actually usually round out the typing of the team really well, and the utility of Arcanine is just way too good to be ignored. I think that there's a little bit anti-synergy, but for the most part I'm using Arcanine to beat Scizor and to support my other Pokemon, instead of Arcanine being like the star of the show. So Flare Blitz, because I want to do as much damage as possible. Heat Wave is okay, but I really need to kill Scizor regardless of the Intimidates or the Snarls. If I get Snarled once, I can't kill Scizor, but if I get Intimidated once, Scizor's still going down. So I think Flare Blitz is super important. Snarl is just great supportive. It makes all my other Pokemon bulky. Intimidate, Snarl, they go hand in hand, right? Helping Hand was really cool because it can upset Calcs. Specifically with Togekiss and Latios, I can just Helping Hand, and if you survive Latios Draco Meteor Gastrodon, you're now dead. So I think Helping Hand is great, and then Protect because I need to keep them alive. The spread is pretty simple. I think it lives like Timid, Life Orb, Latios, Draco, and I put the rest in attack. But it also is really fast and outspeeds Porygon Z. I thought that might be a useful role. I thought people were running it. I thought maybe. So yeah, those are the 6 Pokemon, and that's the team. And basically, the team plays pretty simple. For the most part, you're going to lead Politoed, Ludicolo, Latios. You can really lead almost anything together, except for Arcanine, Politoed. I'm gonna say no to that one. But for the most part, you can lead almost anything, and you can accomplish. You can do a lot with this team. You can set up, you can sweep really fast, really aggressive. You can set up late game, Perish Song, end games. There's all the tools at your disposal, and it just takes a great tool. And all it takes is a great pilot to use the team and just really showcase what it can do. And I think this team is really good. And it's a really fun team to use. And I highly recommend using it just because it's just so freaking fun. I think there's changes. We've seen other Rain teams perform extremely well. But I do think this team is still pretty good. But I did build it at the beginning, so it's a little bit dated, but I still think there's a lot to learn from this team. And it's just a fun team if you just want to try it out on ladder. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this type of content. I just wanted to talk about this team that I made, and I really enjoy it. And I hopefully it can inspire you to build your own Rain team, or maybe you can take ideas and how I built this team and apply it to your own. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Bannerm out.